I just got back from the Virgin Islands. This was part of my self-professed tour for A Room Great and Free. I did an event locally in West Lafayette in conversation with Maurice Brodas. And then I did a few events in the Virgin Islands, a collaboration between myself and the Community Foundation of the Virgin Islands. I did a reading and signing on St. Thomas, a reading and signing on St. Croix, and workshops on both islands. The workshops I did were on collaborative storytelling. So for both of them, we brainstormed ideas together as a group and we came up with a world that we liked. And we came up with a set of characters and we came up with a set of events. And then we wrote individual stories set within that world, contextualized by the events that we brainstormed and using the characters that we co-created. It's an experiment in collaboration that I've done now several times. I did it while I was faculty at North Carolina State University, sometimes to some success. One project that I did with my class was, it was actually my first MFA class, was Desperate NC. Here it is. It's a mosaic epistolary novella about a town of immortals in the backwoods of North Carolina. And it took a lot of time and a lot of work to get published. Going back home is always a rewarding experience. It's also, a challenging one for the same reasons. It's great to see family members and hang out with my best friend. It's great to just be home, to get to go to the beach, to visit all of the places that I love and miss when I'm away. But it's also challenging because you only have so much time, right? And you have to make sure that everyone sees you. Or else you hear about it later. So this trip was no different, with the addition of having to do all of the event stuff, readings and signings on both islands, doing the workshops. On top of trying to deal with all of that, I also was working on editorial for my short story collection, All the Hidden Places, that's going to be out sometime next year. So I was getting emails from my editor about that. One of the cool things that happened while I was there was I got to ride on a seaplane for the first time. I think that it's my favorite mode of travel, right? I think I prefer it to both boats and planes. For some reason, while on a seaplane, I feel safe in a way that I don't feel when I'm in a plane, in a regular plane. Something about the idea of a plane being able to take off from water and land in waters feels comforting to me. I think one of the things that I think about when I'm having anxiety about traveling on planes is, I don't want to even say it out loud because but like a plane trying to land in the ocean, right? And so seaplanes can do that. And for some reason, that in my mind translates to this is the safest mode of travel. It might not be. It might not be because seaplanes might have difficulty landing on land. But I think because, most of the world is ocean, I feel a little bit more confident by the idea that seaplanes exist. Okay, I want to talk about something and the revelation it caused. So before I left for the trip, I reacted to XG's Gala, right? And I posted the video. The music video premiered on a Friday. I was leaving on Saturday morning, leaving the house at like 3 a.m. in the morning. There wasn't going to be any time to do it after Friday because I would be gone for 10 days. And the thought of me trying to not watch this music video for 10 days was terrifying. So I decided to put out my reaction to XG's Gala that Friday, which meant I had to record myself, edit myself, and post it on the same day when I should have been packing and doing some other stuff. It took a few hours because I had some technical difficulties. So I got it posted with, like, in the description, I was saying, sorry for any problems with the sound because someone had complained about my sound in another video. And then I, thought nothing of it for a while. Comments came in. And the comments were like, I think the problem is actually that the video is too fast. It became apparent pretty quickly that the biggest problem was not the sound, but the fact that I was listening to and reacting to this music video at 1.3 speed. The YouTube player was not at normal, it was at 1.3. Most of these early comments, I would say all of these early comments were polite, were nice. We're just pointing this out. There's no problems. There was no aggression. There was very little frustration. It was just, hey, by the way, this happened. And so what I did, because these comments were so nice to start, right? And my experience with XG fans is mostly this, that they're very kind, they're very polite, they're very generous. They're very supportive of these artists. And so I feel like it's a very, in general, healthy environment, very healthy fandom. And so I thought nothing of it. I made some additions to the description. I made an edit to the description saying, also it's been brought to attention that this first playthrough was really fast. And then I went to bed, and then I got on a plane, and then I went to St. Thomas. I proceeded on with my life. By the time I checked back in, it was maybe the next evening or something. And what I found was a change in the way people were taking the fact that the video playthrough was too fast, right? It had moved from, hey, by the way, this is happening, to multiple frustrated comments. And these comments were, had a range of like, mostly benign to what I would consider to be, kind of rude. And by that point, I was like, okay, this looks like the tide is going to turn on this video. And even though I have like an explanation in the description, and even though other people have already commented on this issue, it seems like I'm going to just get like an infinity of these comments. And the other thing that was true was that the people that were commenting in a way that I felt was hostile were getting likes. And I was like, this looks like it's going to be a thing. So I deleted the video. I was like, okay, I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be doing touring for this book. I'm going to be teaching workshops. I'm going to be visiting family. I'm not going to have the emotional energy, the mental headspace to deal with this while I'm doing all of this other stuff. So I just deleted it. I was like, okay, well, I guess my reaction to this video is dead. The thing that it made me realize is twofold. When I started this channel, and I'm just going to be real here, it was because publishing is asking this of authors now, right? They're asking authors to have social media presence. They're asking authors to engage with fandom. They're asking authors to build community, to be public figures, to have a public face. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, some authors are really good at this. But in general, authors tend to be, I would say, more introverted than not. And in the past, authors didn't have to do particularly this. They had to do some social media for sure. But, if we're going back, like a couple of decades, authors did book events. They did readings, they did signings, they attended conventions and festivals and conferences and that sort of thing. And so they had to be personable, and they had to interact with readers, and they had to interact with other authors, and they had to interact with the industry folk. But they didn't have to necessarily be online. They didn't have to be present in this way. And it was a gradual process, right? It wasn't immediate. But now authors are being asked to be social media personalities. And I had been asking myself this question for a really long time, like, okay, this is a thing that is happening in the industry. How am I going to answer it? Like, I can't just post, oh, my book's coming out, I hope you enjoy it. I have to bring in other parts of myself into how I exist on social media. And almost immediately, once I decided to do this thing, I knew that YouTube would be a good place to start, because YouTube, you can do long form stuff. I watch a lot of YouTube, and it's a good place to practice video and editing and doing all of this stuff that I think that, are good skills now for authors to have, right? I'm going to be aging myself a little bit, but one of my favorite channels on YouTube was PBS Idea Channel. I actually used to comment under those videos. So the host of PBS Idea Channel was Mike Rugnetta, and he would do these sort of long form culture discussions, these very thoughtful, very well researched, scripted deep dives into ideas and concepts in popular culture, right? You would tie something in popular culture to something in theory or philosophy or something. I absolutely loved these videos, and I would often reply under those videos because I knew that he would respond sometimes, and he responded to me a few times. He had somehow managed to cultivate within his community this very healthy, very open, very very welcoming, warm discourse. People disagreed, but they disagreed, thoughtfully. And I knew I wanted, if I was going to do something like this, I wanted it to be something like that. I wanted to cultivate something that I felt was a healthy environment. I wanted to protect this particular corner of the internet from what I consider to be toxic internet stuff. I really believe that even when on the internet, you should be a person and you should treat other people like they're people. This very short, very mild interaction with angry XG fans made me realize that in order to do that, in order to build the culture I want, I have to build and set up the cultural expectations. I have to frame things in a certain way. And that's the lesson that I got from it. Like, it's very clear to me that just doing like a regular reaction or framing it as a regular reaction is possibly going to set up the wrong expectations for the people that come to those videos. And I also don't want to give the impression that I'm doing reactions so that I can get a bunch of views and get a lot of engagement. It would be great if people come to my channel and subscribe and tune in for all of the things that I'm doing. But if they're coming, I want it to be framed around the fact that XG isn't a separate interest or a separate category for me. For me, XG is just the thing I love. And it's a part of many things I love, right? The writing stuff is part of it. My interest in film, in TV, in books, in music are all in the same pot for me. They're not separate categories. They're not things that I separate out. They talk to each other. So what I want to do now is create something called Ephemera. And this is going to be the first one. This is going to be Ephemera 1. They're going to be more dynamic in the future. But really, it's going to be a collection of different things that I'm looking at and responding to over time that I'm going to bring into the same video. And they're going to live together. I think that once I start doing it this way, it's going to suppress the amount of people that come to watch my XG reactions. I would say that the stuff that I do on this channel that are XG related vastly outperform anything else that I do. So I know it's going to suppress some of that. But I also think that if I want this channel to be about creative life and creative work and creative interest, if I'm trying to build a certain kind of community, I think it has to be that all of these things exist in the same place. They're not separated out into distinct things. And if it means that like my subscribers don't grow very fast, I think I'm okay with that. If you're catching any shade by what I'm saying, there's a little bit of shade there. But it's not that deep. I find that the XG fandom is quite lovely and quite warm and quite welcoming for the most part. I want to do this in a way that makes sense. So I am going to revisit XG's Gala. I've already listened to it. I had a reaction that I had to take down, but I still want to post something about it because I actually think it's an amazing music video. All right, let's go. Everything you do, everything you do. So one of my favorite parts, right? Just making sure that my speed, my playback speed is normal. One of my favorite parts of this, right, is this moment right here. It reminds me of Hisuno, but also I just really like that beat and this moment right here where they're all spinning on different axes. Like they all are rotating, but they're rotating in different places. But this is, to me, a hint at something. It's a little subliminal hint at something that I think that XGalax is trying to do. I'll talk about it a little bit later. But I love this. I love that they all have their own individual rotation. And I just really love how this sounds. There's something really beautiful sonically about that moment right there. Ce soir, je te suis jusqu'à l'infini. Au-delà des planètes, à travers. I'm gonna put on the captions. Who is speaking in French? I know somebody out there knows, right? Like, who is the one that's speaking in French? Just one touch, take us up. Also, one of my favorite shots is this shot right here where Hinata is coming out of milk, right? This milky substance, and she's floating into the air and she's being observed by whoever these people are. Just one touch, take us up. Like Like who are they? What's going on? But that's dope. My theory about what this story is that it's a gala event, but it's happening across a galaxy. And all of these different solo artists are coming to the gala. These are all individual people coming from their different parts of the galaxy to this big galactic celebrity event.
We do gotta run way with it. Walk so mean like mind your business. Look so sharp until we Hanzo Lennon that I hit him with the blue steel. We got to get it. Waiting in gold. My worth can never be. In the realm of eternity. Let your words and good souls draping colors and desire. On this night of faith. I still make you into an next level.
Chisa sounds amazing. I'm going to start talking about it because I think that the fact that Chisa is off by herself is saying something. I think they're preparing us for something with this album.
Damn. I just didn't make it for next level. Damn.
They go by so quickly, but these one shots are incredible. Like, look.
Damn. I just didn't make it for next level. Damn.
This one. This one shot is so good. All XG music videos have a lot going on all at once. And so you kind of have to pay attention to catch these moments. And then we have Hinata's, one shot here.
Yeah, I could dress casually, naturally. Anything becomes a masterpiece. Look at a kick, smash the tee. 7 different looks like a magazine. That means every single day becomes a fashion week. Like art, fashion of a lover. I'm like a knock cause I'm always on the cover. Hit him with the pose and it's flat to official. Only Alan knows the match is the issue.
So I noticed this in the first reaction, right? And somebody told me that this has happened before with Puppet Show where they do a handoff, like a rap handoff, but I actually think this is unique. This is not something they've done before. So
like art, fashion of a lover. I'm like a knock cause I'm always on the cover. Hit him with the pose and it's flat to official. Only Alan knows the match is the issue. Pretty good.
That's new. Where they're doing handoffs, where someone throws out a line and someone finishes the next line. They're rapping together there as like a team up artist. Like once again, I think X Galax is preparing us for something. I'm going to keep saying that. I'm going to talk about it at the end.
Girls walk like this, pretty girls talk like this. Copper chrome plates on wrist. I mean, who else do you know? Put it on like this. If you don't get it, that's not my problem. Changing my hair like my last name Rodman's out far with the drip top to bottom. Anything that we rock, they be talking about it. Turn the hallway to a catwalk. Turn the sidewalk to a runway. Every day's a photo shoot, that part. Paparazzi got my outfit on the front page. Rolled up in it. Windows tinted, can't see through it, but they know who's in it. Open up the doors with the logo printed. I don't even got to post for the photo finish. Shaking.
Hold up. Let me go back a little bit.
Paparazzi got my outfit on the front page. Rolled up in it. Windows tinted, can't see through it, but they know who's in it. Open up the doors with the...
Right, there's all of these people there at this gala event on some planet, and they're all showing up to the gala event, but they're not showing up from the same world. They're showing up from all over the galaxy.
The logo printed. I don't even got to post for the photo finish. Shaking up the spot like a stone cold Chevy, and we shot through the dark.
Right, like, dude, like she just showed up from space.
Like a snow globe, letter I represent the X Galax. Man, I told you I'ma turn this met to an X Galax.
That's just a dope moment right there. They split.
Watch us snap the old hell, the X hit across the party, so get on my way. All metallic, sweet, sexy, savage, in the finest garment, taking down my waist. Ooh, all my ladies rock this way. Two, all my ladies watch me play. Diabolic, all mechanic, the money got the let my dress talk for me.
They've done this before, right? Where this kind of sing rapping, but this team up sing rap is superb.
Garment, taking down my waist. Ooh, all my ladies rock this way. Two, all my ladies watch me play. Diabolic, all mechanic, the money got the let my dress talk for me, drip talk for me, my move talk for me, my lip gloss popping like a discography. And if it's not vibrant, then it's not for me, not a diss nobody. I had to say next to my ex-stylist. I just say yes to my hairstylist. I'm a proud representative of X-Galax. Such a turn to make Gala to an X-Gala. Glamour me gold, glamour those never seen. You know the name of it.
So now they're all at this party. Whatever this party is for. They've all arrived.
On to the next one. Fuck. Fuck. I just wanna make it into the next one. Fuck. 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 I just wanna make it into the next one. Je ne sais plus rien.
I'm gonna tell you what my theory is. What I've been noticing as I've been watching this video, what I've been noticing is that in the music video they're doing team ups and then they're doing solo stuff too. So there's a Hinata Juria team up. There's a Jurin Harvey team up. Chisa is solo all through this, right? She's always off by herself when she's not with the whole group. There's no team ups. This is also true of Kokona, but I don't know if it means the same thing. I'm not sure about the Kokona one. But what it's telling me, or my theory about it anyway, is that this album is not going to just be every song is the whole of XG. This album is going to have some solo or solo-like tracks. That's just, I mean, this is a conspiracy theory at this point, but the video seems to be telling me this. Like, we're going to get like a Jarvie, right? Song, right? Like in the same way that there was with the mixtapes. There was certain mixtapes where you would get Maya and Kokona. Or did we have a Maya and Kokona mixtape? No, we never had a Maya and Kokona mixtape. There's certain mixtapes where we would get we got a Jurin and Harvey mixtape. We had a Jurin and Kokona mixtape. We had a Maya and Harvey mixtape. Oh, and we had a Maya and Kokona track, right? So there's precedent for it. It has happened before. And I think that what they're going to do with this album, and it makes me actually quite excited. They're going to do solo offerings or solo-like offerings where one person is going to feature on a song, or there's going to be team up featuring on the songs, and that like the rest of XG will be either backup or it's going to be true solos, right? I'm not sure, right? But that theory has me excited, and I think that it would be a really good option for these artists, because when I look at all of them, I feel like any one of these performers could go off and do their own thing tomorrow. And Hinata could do a whole album, and there's going to be a bunch of people that show up to just Hinata. Maya could do the same thing. Chisa can definitely do the same thing. And they've expressed in the past that they're interested in doing solo stuff. It would make a lot of sense for them to, Gala, to give them the opportunity to test run that, to give them the opportunity to do some of that in the same way that they did with the Voxes and the tapes, to do solo offerings, to do team up offerings, to do the things that they've, in my mind, been practicing for a while. And it's a new direction. I feel like so much of this, what this video is doing, is telling us that we're headed in a different direction. And we're going to be doing different things. And in my mind, the place that they haven't gone yet is this place. And I think that it would be really cool. I think the other thing that they could do is have like someone leading and have everyone else doing the backup for that particular track. You can have a Coco track where everybody else is doing backup to Coco. It's Coco's song, but everybody else is there. It's featuring them. So it's like Coco and the Extraordinary Girls. I'm excited about that prospect. I think that the music video is hinting at that. From the story itself, the fact that all of these artists are big performers from different places in the galaxy and they're showing up to this gala event tells me that they recognize this group of girls could handle solo careers and that they're preparing the fans for that possibility. Not necessarily that the band is breaking up, but that it actually would be quite clever for X-Galax to have them do solo stuff within the group. And in my mind, with the exception of stuff like, I think about Outkast. Outkast did something like this, right? Speaker Box and The Love Below. Doing solo offerings without breaking up the group itself. I think that's where they're going. I think that's where they're going for a while at least. And I think that it would actually be really good for someone like Chisa. I think Chisa is probably going to be the first one, just based on the fact that she's by herself through the whole of this song, right? I might be reading too much into it, but I know for a fact Chisa has talked about doing solo stuff before. And so it would be quite exciting if she was able to do that. I said some other things in the other video, the reaction video that I did before. about the fact that they're pushing forward. They're definitely looking back. Some of this stuff looked to me like things from left, right. There's a moment in there that looked like If You Know, You Know. There's some moments in there that look like Hisunu and some of the other videos that they've done. But they're also pushing forward. This sounds like a song that you would play in a club. And they're aiming for like an international club vibe. This is Vogue music. I also talked about the fact that like I have this feeling from this particular song that there's going to be a great leap forward for them coming up soon. Talked about this in relation to someone like Rihanna. What else can I say? I'm excited for what they're about to do. I'm excited that they're going to exciting places. And I'm looking forward to what's next. In the spirit of all of that, I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about for a while that I'm going to be doing on this channel. It's going to be called Dispatches from the Afterlife. I initially intended for this to be a novel, but over the course of some weeks, I've decided to go in another direction for the next novel project. I'm deciding to go in the horror direction for the next novel project. And I wanted this Dispatches from the Afterlife to be a love story, a road trip love story and love letter to popular culture and popular media set in an afterlife. I actually have a short story that is set in this world that's coming out either sometime this year or next year. It's going to be in an anthology called The Book of the Dead. From that short story, I'm planning to just expand into this world more, write more stories from the perspective of that story's narrator. His name is Trevor. And have those stories be, some of them be, traditional stories, but then some of them be more like personal essays on pop culture stuff. One of them is going to be about XG, not just XG. It's going to be about XG, but it's also going to be about the relationship that I keep seeing between Black culture and Asian culture. I'm using like very broad terms here, but I'm thinking about like Black culture's interest in anime, for example, and how influenced by it we are. Like I'm thinking also about Michael B. Jordan's Creed 3 and how he has been very explicit about the fact that he was influenced by anime in how he directed and shot those fighting scenes. Like I also want to explore hip hop and how hip hop and Black music has interacted with anime and then came back to us and we've interacted back with it. You know what I mean? Also, I want to talk about K-pop and how K-pop is also influenced by Black culture in some respects and how we have found, love and appreciation for K-pop as well, right? I also want to talk about like cuisine and the fact that there's like, Korean fried chicken and Southern fried chicken, you know what I mean? And so I'm interested in all that stuff, right? But it's going to also be about XG. It's going to be about Trevor, my fictional character, discovering XG in the afterlife and falling in love with XG. I think that's what it's going to be about. And so what these essays are going to be are a combination of like written essays that I'll be, writing and revising and reading and iterating off of, and video essay stuff, right? So I'm going to be blending the written essay with the video essay in some way. I'm going to be doing some kind of hybrid form thing. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but it's what I want to do. So I'm going to try it. There's a novel that I'm thinking about and I'm starting to write that I'm excited about. And I'll talk about some of the journey of working on that project. I'm going to talk about what I'm reading and what I'm being influenced by. And I'm going to just do it in this way, this ephemeral way, where all of this stuff is just living in the same room because that's how it's like for me. I don't think about these things separately. They're all together. So it looks like I actually get to react to something today. Let's check it out. Oh my God. Oh, that's freaking dope. I know that we're going to be able to do that in the actual dance. That's dope.
Just one touch, just one cut, take us up, exodus, the purpose done, she'll open up the gates for me. Which true flies and I swear to me that we don't need to do nothing, let them react. You know, like I said, I'm all sitting with that. We taking over tonight because I'm pretty and black. Everything we do, gotta runway with it. Walks on me like mind your business. Look so sharp until we hands over and then I hit it.
Wait, what is that? Is that just a sound of their footwork?
We taking over tonight because I'm pretty and black. Everything we do, gotta runway with it. Walks on me like mind your business. Look so sharp until we hands over and then I hit him with the blue skin. We got to get it. Ready to go. My love can never be. Get on the run of eternity. Let your words and control driven cause and desire.
You can also see in this choreography that she says by herself. Just adding more evidence to this theory that I have. So that glam is Kokona, which makes sense because it's so smoky.
I can dress casually, naturally. Anything becomes a masterpiece. Look at a kick smash the teeth. Seven if it looks like a magazine. That means every single day becomes a fashion week. It's like art, fashion of a lover. I'm like a knob, but I'm always on the cover. Hitting with the pose and it's flat to official. Only Alan knows the match is the issue. Pretty girls walk
Team
like
up.
this. Pretty girls talk like this. Copper chrome plates on wrist. I mean, who else do you know? Put it on like this. If you don't get it, that's not my problem. Changing my hair like my last name Rodman. Top off with the drip top to bottom. Many things every rock can be talking about it. Turn the hallway to a catwalk. Turn the sidewalk to a runway. Every day's a photo shoot that part. Paparazzi gonna lock it on the front page. Roll the minute. Windows tinted, can't see through it, but they know who's in it. Open up the doors with the logo printed. I don't even got a post for the photo finish. Shaking up the spot like a stone cold Chevy. And we shot to the dark like a snow globe lit out. Represent the ex-yellows. Man, I told you I'm gonna turn this net to
I'm
an
gonna go back.
ex-yellow.
I'm gonna go back a little bit because I feel like so much is happening and I'm losing it.
Posing is flat to official. Only Alan knows the match is the issue. Pretty girls walk like this. Pretty girls talk like this. Copper chrome plates on wrist. I mean, who else do you know? Put it on like this. If you don't get it, that's not my problem. Changing my hair like my last name Rodman. Top off with the drip top to bottom. Many things
Kokona.
about it. Turn the hallway to a catwalk. Turn the sidewalk to a runway. Every day's a photo shoot that part. Paparazzi gonna lock it on the front page. Roll the minute. Windows tinted, can't see through it, but they know who's in it. Open up the doors with the logo printed. I don't even got a post for the photo finish. Shaking up the spot like a stone cold Chevy. And we shot to the dark like a snow globe lit out. Represent the ex-yellows. Man, I told you I'm gonna turn this net to an ex-yellow.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she did it. You know, I don't even know why I'm surprised. Like in my mind, I think that pose would be hard to do and replicate on well live. But why? Why do I think that? They nail everything else they do. Like I feel like that would be hard to replicate live, but guess not. I like that rotation there. This rotation right here is really cool. Dope. So you see, okay, this is lending to my theory, right? You see, like this is like a subgroup and another subgroup. Anyway. Y'all, that is hard to do. That is hard to do. And the fact that Kokona is even attempting it is wild to me. Because she's gonna have to nail that every time they do a performance, and the fact that that's actually a part of the dance choreography is insane. Oh, that's fantastic. The footwork right here is insane. Yep. Yep. I'm excited. I'm excited. Um, I'll say the things that make it a standout to me is the things that they're doing that are hard to do that they'll have to replicate, right? It's not that they do easy stuff generally. It's that specifically Harvey's split and Kokona's breakdance like floor work is hard to do, right? And so if they mess that stuff up, you're gonna notice it, right? If they do that live and they mess it up, you're gonna notice it. But they're so good and they're so well trained at this point that I feel like they can do it. They can take that risk, no problem. I'm excited. My theory is still going. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore because I think I'm actually going crazy a little bit. So, um, yeah, loved it. Looking forward to what's next.